Everyone, welcome to the new video. I am Atharva Singh from BITS Pilani campus, and I am currently in my fourth year. And I have with me Atharva Toshniwal. He is my friend from first year, and he is my wingy also, and like he's my neighbor in terms of rooms. So he'll be the host of the day. And we have the guest of the day today. He is Abhijeet Singh Jha. He just graduated from BITS Pilani. He's our senior, and he just wrapped up his 6 month internship in JP Morgan in investment banking division. So he'll be telling us in detail about what is the reality of finance minor and what is the ROI, what is the scope of it in India right now, and like what is this major and minor clash, which is like always a doubt in like among all the students. In fact, this is very important for a student who is in BITS Pilani currently and he's in second year and he's willing to pursue a finance minor or anything. Or even if you are a fresher and you are joining BITS this year and you are just joining it with the scope of having a finance minor as a proper degree and a way of like living your life. So it is going to be very important for you. Before that, please subscribe to my channel and let's get started.
Okay, viewers. First, I'll like to tell you why we are doing this podcast. Neither any of us knew about this minor before coming to BITS. We only knew about the major courses, both MSc and BE degrees. So I will also delve upon what minor degree are in general in BITS, how many courses are there compared to major degrees, and would this degree be any much useful as other degree, and also an additional information to pay extra for this particular minor degree. So yeah, Abhijeet, let's start right off the bat. What do you mean by finance and different finance opportunities? Because I just have the idea from Wolf of Wall Street कि ये फाइनेंस होता है, वो ऐसे ऐसे जो भी उसने किए मूवी में वही फाइनेंस होता है. So what exactly is finance?
Right. So when people talk about finance in general is any field which concerns itself with the functioning of the financial markets. So in India, you could talk the National Stock Exchange or the Bombay Stock Exchange, or very famously the Dow Jones in US or NYSE in US, Nasdaq in US, FTSE in London. So these are very prominent financial markets across the world. What financial careers aim to do is not just work across these markets, but apart from that, anything any company might have to do with capital raising, the management of capital, the allocation of capital, all these kind of functions. These are something that fall in purview of finance in general, and a lot of companies and all companies, in fact, have their internal divisions also which manage their finances as well, because let's be honest, finances is something which makes or breaks a business.
Right.
You will not be able to survive if you don't have enough financial health, to say, to put it crudely. But yeah, it basically acts as a derivative of economics, the broader economics or economic markets per se. So yeah, that is finance.
And what kind of people are best suited for this field?
Right. So, like, honestly, finance has something in store for a lot of people, different kinds of people. So, if you're someone who absolutely loves to work really hard, and someone who wants to get into places in world where you would not have been otherwise, these kind of careers, finance has really good careers for them. But overall, if I have to put a blanket definition on the kind of people who enter finance, these are people who like to tell stories with numbers for the most part.
All right.
So when you talk about a financial statement itself is not just numbers, it also carries something with the numbers, right? If you look at a company's revenue and then you look at it, compare it with the previous 5 years revenue of the same company or its competitors, you'll get to know a story behind the company's operations, how well it has been doing in some aspects or not, right? So it basically is well suited for people who like to tell stories with numbers. In fact, even I started to like finance because of that aspect, where it sort of married the qualitative and quantitative side of things, which I both enjoyed. I really enjoyed history, psychology, literature since like my childhood, and I really like the science aspect of things as well, explains by JEE preparation and all as well. So I wanted something which could intersect both of them, and finance was a perfect career option. Apart from that, there are fields in finance which are there for people who just love number solving as well, because look at these huge packages coming from IIT Bombay, where numerous, I think more than 10, 12 people every single year, even in the CSE division itself, also earn upwards of $1 crore package. I think it's even gone up, and even in BITS we saw really high packages offered this year. Most of these, in fact, all of these were rather quant roles, and these roles are also, they are finance roles per se. These are the people who are smart and like to solve problems. So in general, a problem solving mindset is also something that is crucial for entering finance in general. So if you're anywhere between these 2-3 kind of personalities, I think you will enjoy finance.
Great. I'll also touch on this question again. But before that, what's different between major and minor degrees? Because in major, that Arav is doing MSc in mathematics, I'm doing MSc in economics. We do around 18 courses to get one degree. Here, we are just doing 6 courses. So I wanted to ask, is this minor degree one credible as much as major degrees are?
Right. So just like, not even 6. In fact, you need to just do 5 to get a minor degree. The 6th one is just, to get the finance score per se. Okay. But yeah, 5 courses versus 18 courses, there is a question. But that is why it's called a minor degree. Because, in BITS, you have to do 5 open electives as a single degree students either way, right? Okay. Now, you could 5 disjointed courses in, completely lack direction, right? The direction would be completely lacking in those 5 courses. You could not connect them. You could do one in humanities, one in math, and one in electronics, and so on. But instead of that, what minor degree does is that it focuses those electives in one direction. So, of course, you're not just limited to 5 courses if you're interested. Like I ended up doing 8 finance courses. There are a lot of people who end up doing even more. But, the minor degree sort of gives a direction to your academic freedom as well. Like you've chosen to focus on it despite having sort of an academic freedom. So that shows a sort of sense of dedication, right? Major degree, of course, shows a concentration for sure. But if you have like a dedication, you would be expected to know something in that background, right? You could justify your to your interviewer that, okay, you know some things in finance. Like instead of if I just take someone who's not done any finance course, who doesn't have a minor also, and like put them in finance interview, the interviewer would not be able to ask them or even expect anything, about finance, even basic finance from them, right? So it helps get that credibility in the door, and it's not just limited to BITS. The minor degree concept has been, very tried and tested concept, time-old concept. MIT also has that, which is a school. It's itself on IITs have minors as well. It's just a form of concentration. Of course, it will never be as focused as your major degree because that is what you're coming to study at BITS. They don't expect you to, completely not be aware about your major degree and just do your minor degree as a certification. But it's just an add-on certification.
But intuitively, when we talk about BITS, we just think about technology, science, or engineering in general. So our BITS courses at par as to what financial knowledge is required, because then we think we are certain about its engineering courses, but not about its finance courses.
Right. Great question, actually. Because in the name of BITS itself, there's technology and science. There's no mention of economics or anything. People are shocked to find MSc economics in the first place, right? But even in IITs, there's a BSc economics program, which people are shocked
to find. They have started in Kanpur and Bombay,
Yeah, and they have pretty great outcomes, honestly, from there. Even Kharagpur has a financial engineering program. But the thing is that despite people not being aware of that, there's a very well up and running, economics department at BITS. And what people don't know about, there used to be a degree in finance, and I've seen finance, which used to, I think, be at least up till 2012 or something. It used to be offered.
I heard about it.
Yeah, there's a professor of ours.
It was a different finance MSc.
It was MSc in finance.
Our common professor under whom we both did a project, he is a graduate of MSc Finance.
Aditya Sharma, right? Ex-JP.
Ex-JP, yeah. So he I know for a fact that it used to be offered till his graduating, which was 2009 or 2008, but it used to be offered, I think, a couple of years till after that as well. But as far as what I could gather from from a conversation with him, there was not enough interest back then in finance. People didn't used to crowd to finance courses. Like right now, when I look at the latest timetable, I see that basic finance courses like accounting and the DI have 2 sections now instead of 1.
There are 400 people that register for this course.
400, 500 people
compared to normal 100 in other courses.
Exactly, and they sort of like had to create extra sections to accommodate people, extra slots to accommodate people, and that was surprising to him as well. Like after having gone through an entire finance program and not seeing people turn up for classes, so suddenly people turning up for classes despite 0% attendance. Right, there has to be an inherent motivation for someone to suddenly do that in second year, not even first year. Right, but the thing is that because it's not a new degree, there has been a whole tradition of finance, and now economics department, which produces really great alums every single year. Like Shashwat, for example, I think Arif should also bring him on someday because he also would make a great mind for people to engage with. But people like him, and even before him, there were great people coming out of that program itself. There's no shortage. Even the professors, if you look at Dr. Giri, I think he is on the UPSC interview panel.
Giri. Right.
Yeah, Dr. Giri, he's on the UPSC interview panel. So these are really smart people who have really good research to the name, and these people have been taking courses for quite some time. And even the recent professors like Professor Devata, he was called by the Rajasthan government, nominated by Rajasthan government to create a sort of, I think, financial technology lab in IIT Jodhpur and set it up. And he set it up before the deadline ended, and in return to BITS, before his contract stipulated time that was given to him, deadline was over. He was able to wrap it up before that. So you can see these are really skilled professionals who are at play here. They're not people who came to BITS because they couldn't really find it somewhere else. They could easily have, and they were in fact in the industry. Rajan Pandey sir was in the industry. He was in JP as well. Aditya Sharma sir was in JP. They had really good credentials to their name, but they still, Dr. Devata has a PhD from IIT Kharagpur as well in Quant, and he's really a lot of into Quant, off campus, on campus, everything. And a lot of masters. So these are really skilled people teaching the courses. Something that I find very interesting about finance courses at BITS and department at BITS, so that the professors are actually very interested and motivated to mentor students. The students are motivated, that keeps the professors also motivated. Students actively engage with the projects, right? I remember there was a time in my department, chemical department, where professors had to send out a list of professors offering projects with the titles that they would be offering, so that students would come and engage with them. And students were not that inquisitive about the subject that they could come up with a novel research idea themselves. But in finance, I know that we all go with our ideas ourselves, so at least inquire with the professor and then read up and then go. So we are that inquisitive about it. And I think that really keeps the hopes up for the professors as well. They put in their all in sort of like, teaching a course. And I saw that first time when I was a teaching assistant of FRAM as well. I was able to see how people are actually showing up to the class curious about things, asking questions, staying after the class, showing up to the office hours, and, asking for extra classes.
The trend and the overall culture is definitely changing.
Exactly. And talking about the course material itself, like if you see this 5 to 6 courses.
What are the courses that we have? Like, can you spell it one sentence each course?
Good question. So first there are five mandatory courses that you need to do.
Okay.
5 courses that you need to do in order to complete a minor degree. But because we have a concept of finance offshoot in BITS, which basically means your individual grade points in each finance course added up, that is counted usually with 6 courses, because a lot of companies that come for PS2 end up asking for those courses instead.
Okay.
So there are 2 courses that everyone has to complete if they take the minor. That is FundaFin, or the Fundamentals of Finance and Accounting. Which
we'll start one by one. First is Fundamentals of Accounting. So what do we do in that course?
Right. So what we study is extreme basics of finance. You go through the 3 statements, right? Say financial statements. You go through every single statement, right? You go through how to prepare them, how to read them, how to analyze them, more importantly, right? You go through some basic ratios as well. So you go through basics of accounting, right? I I think would study in 11th and 12th in accounting more than that in one semester of course, post-material, right? And you go through a lot of case studies. The exams are also pretty interesting to write in that course as well. So that's, I think, FundaFin, which is offered in the third semester and third semester for the economics department people, which are the mandatory.
Right, 2-1, second year, first semester.
Yeah, exactly, 2-1. And for other people, it's open in every other semester. You can do, for second year students particularly, I think you can take only in your 2-2 and onwards. But yeah, that's FundaFin.
Next is DRM, derivatives course.
Yeah. So DRM is one of the optional courses in finance minor. There are, I think, 6 to 8 optional courses in finance minor, apart from the 2 one. DRM is usually a basic course which people take in tandem with FundaFin to complement something, because usually you have to pack these courses within 2 semesters or 3 semesters in case you're lucky. And finish them and wrap it up within those semesters. So you have to be very compact with these courses, right? So
what do we study in DRM? Yeah.
So derivatives and risk management, like the course is named itself, derivatives. You study derivatives, what are financial derivatives, what are the mechanics, basic mechanics basically, and what different kinds of derivatives are there, how does each derivative function, and you also study risk management. So like how each derivative is used and or can be used for risk management, what's their payoff strategy of you study some derivative strategies. This gives you idea about a different field of finance, right? If you talk about FundaFin, it concerns with the 3 financial statements, while DRM concerns itself with derivatives, right? And these are 2 separate fields of finance. One is particularly the securities side, and one is the accounting or the
accounting taxation,
side. Right? Yeah, not a taxation, accounting, corporate.
Just the accounting aspect.
Yeah.
Okay. Next, then we have BAV. What's that?
Yeah, so BAV stands for Business Analysis and Valuation. Like the course is self-explanatory in the name itself. That business analysis and valuation, what you learn for the most of it is valuation itself. People who are interested, you could always go to YouTube and type valuation by Damodar and go through the lectures. These are the same. The material is in tandem with that. Designed, in fact, inspired by Damodaran's course itself. But of course, there's a different angle to it as well. We also take business analysis aspect of things. So we also go through some Porter 5 forces and some management principles as well, among the finance aspects of things, because it really gives us an overall idea of how things. Because business analysis and valuation is something that you would use if you go into the investment banking side of things, which you could touch upon later, the careers and finance, the things. But talking about specifically just the corporate finance side of things, business analysis and valuation is a very important course where you learn the different valuation methodologies, you do the valuation methodology, you do the math, you make models, right? If you were to talk about financial modeling, BAV is the course which teaches you financial modeling. Of course, in the course itself, we do it on pen and paper, but of course, you could always be a little more tech savvy and do it Excel. And we also started, I think they started introducing some Excel based exercises as well. So that's what financial.
Next we have SAPM and FM, Finman, what the other people call. So are these 2 courses?
Right. So SAPM, or Security Analysis and Portfolio Management. Again, like the name insists upon itself, security analysis is one of the most famous parts of finance, right? Every single person who is exposed to finance wants to make money, right? How do you make money? By engaging yourself with markets. And the basic thing that everyone learns once they go into the markets, if you are interested in anything apart from technical analysis, is you learn the fundamental analysis side of things. Or in tandem, we could call all of this as security analysis, right? How do you analyze a security? How do you analyze a stock per se? If I have to put a word, of course, there's a few chapters on derivatives, but we've gone through a derivatives course in depth, so you don't really learn something new there. What you learn in new is that you learn how to analyze a stock, how to do different kind of valuation methodologies, particularly for stock. In BAV, we learn valuation methodologies for businesses. Now, just with public equities. And public equities have other ways of valuation as well. We learn that. We learn the capital asset pricing model and other models as well, which are applicable to these markets. We learn the nature of these securities, the basic theories about the securities, financial ratios and analysis of them, and how it ties down to the portfolio management side of things, the stock market side of things, and the way the professors, our professor Professor Arya Kumar takes the course is very interesting. I think he relates it to the ongoings in markets every single day. he takes up the news and sees how the securities react to it, right? So very interesting course. People who enjoy these courses might also be the general kind of people. So I would not only just recommend this course for someone who's interested in finance as a career, but rather also someone who's interested in investing, like in general, if they want to invest their money, right? Invest and grow their money. I think this will be really helpful for those people as well. Just to go through the material itself. And finally, financial management of FinMan, or to use a better term, apart from financial management, this is usually called corporate finance, as people call it an MBA.
Okay.
And this is something of a. This is also a core course along with Fund of Fund, which you have to do in case you enroll for the minor in order to have a minor. The other three courses which you discussed were BAS, SAPM, and DRM. All were optional courses. You could also opt for other courses like econometrics or money markets and financial markets and all these other courses that are also offered as a part of the minor roster. But this course, financial management, you have to do absolutely this course. And this course is corporate finance. Basically, you learn a lot of things which you learned in SAPM and BAV, which is valuation for company. But that is just one aspect of things. You also learn about corporate practices, corporate governance practices, right?
Different decisions, what corporate takes to manage its capital.
Exactly. Even that, capital structure, allocation, dividend decision, when to give how much to give dividends of, and basically how to see how well a business is run or how to run a business. I think if I were to put my money where my mouth is, I think corporate finance or financial management is one of the, if not the most important finance course offered at BITS, because if someone wants to make a career in finance, I think this is the course they should focus the most on, because they will probably end up getting more value out of it than other courses, because they will end up learning things which will be applied or applicable to their own businesses if they end up starting their business, which is often the case for BITS, BITSians in general. So, one should have an idea of corporate finance is what I would say, and this is a really interesting course.
Last, we have FRAM. I've heard that it's similar to DRM, so should we do it or?
I mean, it's not really similar to DRM as much as it is an advanced level of DRM. So, financial risk analytics and management is basically a course which was offered as an advanced level course for only people who are interested in the risk management and derivatives aspect of finance. But what people now a lot of companies are demanding these skills, right? When they come to campus for roles, right? So a lot of companies started by credit. This course was, by the way, also started by Credit Suisse. Like, people from Credit Suisse actually came and designed the syllabus, the first syllabus that. Yeah, when FRAM was first rolled out, Credit Suisse people designed the syllabus, and it was designed in tandem with them. And of course, now they don't engage with the course in general, but it's the same value that it upholds. It's basically industry standard. This course is meant for people who want to do risk management, quant side of things as well. So, if I were to put a word to it, I think it's more sell side quant specific. I'll touch upon that later, but this is basically where you learn how to manage risk using different aspects. So putting it simply, it's advanced option mechanics course. So where you learn basic option mechanics and DRM. Here you learn advanced option mechanics, where you're going into depth, second, third order derivatives. You're going into how they vary with all the different factors that affect derivative pricing, right? You go through advanced derivative pricing. You go through the basic mathematical first principles, I would say. Valuing, pricing derivatives from the first principle itself. And DRM itself, for the most part, you are introduced just to basic formula, and even the Black-Scholes model that is introduced to you, it's introduced abruptly. There's no derivation of sorts. And over here, you go to the mathematical first principles, and you go to the first thing that backs the BSM model. And then
so much more technical analysis of whatever we learned in DRM.
Not just technical analysis, it goes into depth. It goes into proper mathematical depth, and it introduces many concepts like value at risk. It introduces mutual funds and hedge funds, right? It has a topic about hedge fund strategies as well, and how to measure performances of hedge funds and mutual funds. This is a very, I think, good advanced level course that someone with an deep interest in finance should do. I not only did this course, I also was the teaching assistant of this course in my final semester. It was really an enjoyable course. I think if you are to witness the most amount of student-teacher interaction at BITS, I think one should always pop up in the classroom of FRAM, and you'd probably witness the most amount of student-teacher interaction you would at BITS.
Who's the professor?
So it's taken by Professor Devata,
Okay.
who's of course like someone who's
Arav, just put the link of all the professors in the description box, and it has all the credentials, so you also will understand what this professor actually has.
For sure.
Just to complete this particular section, can you tell me where our courses lie in the bigger picture? So we are talking about derivatives, we are talking about company valuation, we are talking about handling stocks and managing company as well. So apart from this, I understand there are two more famous courses, like there's CA, there is CFA. So where does our 6 courses fit in the bigger picture? Does they supplement other courses, or are they a separate entity in itself?
Right, good question. Just to like put a word of disclaimer out there, I don't think one will be doing a CA once they do engineering, because it's a very long and tedious course, and I don't know how much intersection truly is there with the CA, thing, because our accounting, while it is good in depth, CA can of course it can never match CA, because CA accounting is literally a degree on accounting, started accountancy. But from a CFA, I had cleared my CFA level 1 last year, and while studying for it, I realized that if not 50, if not like 60%, I would say at least 40 to 50% syllabus was somehow covered in our finance courses, right? To a degree more than what the CFA demands. So what I realized that after doing the 3 courses, after doing the going through the syllabus of the 3 levels and studying through the 2 levels actually myself, I would say that the 8 courses that I did in finance minor, I also did financial engineering, econometrics, apart from these courses. But having done these courses, I would say that I was well versed with a lot of subjects and a lot of material well in advance. Some concepts in FRAM and FINI are particularly applicable in CFA level 2, syllabus. And I know from my peers and seniors that it's very well much more applicable in FRM level 2 and level 1 stuff. So what I would say is that it's actually broadly applicable very much to CFA level 1 and level 2 syllabuses at least. And
that's it.
These levels form a foundation. I think someone who is a proficient learner in the finance minor courses at BITS will be facing not much difficulty in clearing the level 1 exams, even if they have like a 2-month preparation window as well, which is a very short time, but they could do it within that time as well.
Oh, बढ़िया. But इतना पढ़ने के बाद भी, do we get like equivalent opportunities in India or at undergrad level? So I just want you to discuss what opportunities do we get undergrad level in India, and do BITS provides you a window to access them?
Right. So of course this will be a question that everyone will ask. Before.
पैसा कितना मिलेगा?
Right. Exactly. So to be very, very honest, the most of the jobs that do come, the most of the lucrative jobs that come in these finance field, especially for undergraduate people, they do arrive in BITS. Right. Okay. BITS is one of the top recruitment stations for most of these firms. Right. In BITS, we have prominent recruiters like JP Morgan Chase, we have Morgan Stanley, Nomura, Deutsche Bank of India, UBS. Right. So he's also in it back when it was functional. Right. We have these prominent legacy recruiters coming to BITS every single year and taking on more than JP Morgan itself last year, both semesters combined, all 3 campuses combined, took more than 100 people. So you can see how much of an intake these firms have for people at BITS. Even if I talk about full-time recruiting as well, at my time at JP Morgan, I observed and I talked to people that over there, most of the feeder that recruitment feeder that comes there is from 3 channels. It's either 4 channels per se. It's either post MBA, right? A lot of people come from these schools. Then secondly, it's from the CA. Right? A lot of people come after the CA or during the CA through industrial training, and the third is through St. Xavier's Kolkata. But the major recruiting channel at junior levels for JP Morgan was clearly BITS. Hands down, the most concentrated was BITS. But the thing is, because BITS people were very ambitious over there, they used to leave the firm earlier than most of the people, and they used to not wait to climb that corporate ladder, but used to exit for MBA or other exit opportunities as well within the firm. And that was not just my role. I could say this for almost every role that comes to BITS from JP Morgan or Morgan Stanley or Nomura. A lot of teams are just filled with BITSians, and BITS provides one of the best platforms, if not the best platform for finance recruiting in India, because I had a good. I used to follow this guy on YouTube. There's this channel, I think it's called Akash Garg or Akash Goel, I'm not sure of his name, but he's an IIT Delhi grad who got admitted to MIT Sloan deferred MBA. He had done a banking internship at Morgan Stanley. I think it was Quant or investment banking, some of them. But he was asked a question in one of his videos: how good is the finance culture at IIT Delhi, and how is the recruiting for these firms at IIT Delhi? And he responded, it's actually very tough for IIT Delhi to break into any of these finance channels, particularly investment banking. While at BITS, investment banking, of course, not just front office, but front office, there are less opportunities overall in India for undergraduates. But still at BITS, we get two prominent roles for front office. We get Avendus Capital coming for placements. We get UBS coming for PS recruiting for the front office investment banking division. And we get Deutsche Bank and JP Morgan recruiting for the middle office investment banking. And I'm pretty sure Morgan Stanley will also be coming up soon, because they've also recently opened up their investment banking middle office division in India. So I'm pretty sure all these firms will also come to recruit from BITS and these roles as well. So I think
you're talking of continuous about roles. What are these roles? Because I just know this quant or there's something valuation, but what are different type of roles? And also tell at undergrad level you will have probability of 10% going here, or 90% of chance going in this role. So also the probability of you ending up there from directly after undergrad.
Okay, great. So if I have to break it down, I'll just go from very first principles, right? For people who are in first year or don't have any idea of finance, they'll be able to follow very easily. So we can divide finance into broadly two categories, and those two categories would further be divided into two equal categories, right? So I would divide finance broadly into the quant side of things, right? Quant side of things, and then there's the corporate finance side of things.
Arav, hopefully you can show us simulation alongside. Okay.
Great. That will be great for people too. And these two divisions in themselves could also be divided into buy side and sell side. Quant could be divided into buy side, sell side, and even the corp fin side could be divided into.
This is similar to what buy and sell is on stock market.
Yeah, I can build up from that actually. Right.
Okay.
So let's talk about. First, let's go through the quant side of things, then go into the corporate finance side of things, because most of the roles that people will end up getting as a fresher from an engineering college, especially, it will be relating to quant side of things more than the corporate finance side of things.
Okay.
So coming to the quant, the buy side of things, let's just knock it out of the way, because the buy side recruiting, particularly by recruiting, I mean, that's a term in general jargon used in finance. Recruiting means, of course, to recruit for a firm or to target a firm. So for buy-side recruiting, usually in India particularly, goes from top engineering colleges, right? IIT Bombay, IIT Delhi, IIT Kanpur, IIT Madras, IIT Kharagpur, BITS Pilani, IIT Guwahati, IIT Roorkee. I think that's it, yeah.
Top 7 plus BITS.
Yeah, and BITS I would not even extend it to Goa and Hyderabad, although some opportunities have started arising in PS as well, which of course have to take Goa and Hyderabad as well. But more or less it's these colleges. Right. So talking about buy-side recruiting, let's just knock it out of the park before we move on to sell-side, because buy-side is particularly really hard for freshers to from engineering to recruit from, right? So talking about recruitment in general, recruitment processes, what we refer to in finance when we say recruiting is basically when you try to get into a firm and when you try to break into a firm. In India, it's pretty straightforward for the most part. It's campus placements, right? But these buy-side firms, what buy-side and sell-side is, let's just get that out of the way, right? What do I mean by buy-side? What do I mean by sell-side? So buy-side is the side of things which buys a security, right? Or buys a company, right? Someone who has the capital and will employ that capital to get a security or get a company. So that's the buyer. Just think of it as buyer and seller. Sell side, on the other hand, is someone who sells it. So talking about the buy side and sell side in the quant aspect of things, Buy side are these HFTs or hedge funds. HFTs, high frequency trading, hedge funds, trading firms, prop tradings. These firms come under buy side. Apart from that, some banks also have their buy side division, but it's relatively small in capital allocation. Coming to sell side in quant side technically just mostly comprises of banks and some smaller risk management firms, credit risk management firms, these kind of capital, C-card firms as well. So buy-side recruiting in India works mostly from the on-campus side of things, but nowadays there's also hackathons. But so usually this happens in the top 7 engineering colleges. You think IT, top 5 world IITs, right? IIT Guwahati, BITS Pilani campus, Goa and Hyderabad is still very limited in this. And it's, I think, expanding to a lot of other colleges as well, top NITs. I think it's expanding to DTU also. Some firms hired from DTU last time, so it's growing in India. The major reason why it's relatively low is because the firms have recently started expanding in India. Right now, just a few days ago, if you guys would be following the news, Jane Street had gotten banned by SEBI for security trading, right? Securities fraud. Jane Street is now one of those firms which employ these people, these smart people to trade on those and to make strategies. So, what does a buy side quant trader might do, right? So usually these are 3 types of people: developers, which basically develop software on which the trading happen, or the platforms on which these happens. Traders are the ones who place orders and look at the real-time price movement and decide on what to do, take decisions, right? While quant researchers, the most sort of coveted job and the most high-paying jobs in this field are quant researchers, QRs, which are very limited, right? QRs are hired mostly primarily from these colleges itself, while quant dev might be hired from somewhere else as well. But QRs are particularly from undergraduate level hired just from these.
Well, can you tell me again what's QR?
Quant researcher, right? These people make strategies on which these people trade. They make the algorithms on which these people are supposed to trade and make profits. So these are mathematical genius, and I don't put it lightly, right? I remember some of you people who might be following JEE rankers would be aware of this guy called Chirag Falur, who was the All India rank 1 in 2020, the time I took my JEE for the first time.
Right.
He was a very famous guy because he primarily almost got nearly full marks in I think physics. He scored full marks in advanced, right? I remember that part about him. But more importantly, he despite being AR1, he rejected IIT Bombay very, and he went to MIT to pursue astrophysics because that was where his heart was at. But of course, their journeys usually are not followed post that. But what he ended up doing is that I think he switched his major to RF probably could pull up his LinkedIn profile on the side, but
I'll add it.
Yeah, he could probably pull it on the side, but from what I remember, he switched his major to I think mathematics, and he did a minor in machine learning and AI and mathematics. Right? So this is probably one of the smartest people in India, at least. One of our generations here. This guy worked at Jane Street as an intern. He worked at Citadel as an intern, and he's joining Citadel right now. Citadel is a huge multi-manager hedge fund, multi-manager, multi-strategy hedge fund, which employs a lot of these strategies, including the quant strategies, part of which I think he is joining the team. And they are basically using minds like these, top rankers from Olympiad medalists, in fact, gold medalists of IMO, our campuses, like highest placement we have ever probably recorded was Anish Kasegaonkar, my a batch senior to my batch in economics and CS dual degree. He was sitting in the same cycle as us. He did a summer internship at Tower Research Capital, and he got a pre-placement offer there in the New York office. There was a bidding war supposedly between IMC and TRC to hire that person, because before the PPO results had come in, IMC had already hired him from campus, which was also a 95 lakh package domestic, right? And there was I think a bidding war. People had sent companies had sent people from their main offices in New York and Singapore and all to fly.
And once to join their company.
Yeah, exactly. And he was in Singapore doing a thesis at NUS. Really smart people. really smart person. I think Arav should also reach out to him because a great resourceful individual.
So is it
He
safe to
was-
say that this buy side in Quant is very limited to like very limited and very exclusive?
Yeah, like you have to be really top of your game. You have to probably have a CS degree, right? Without a CS, probably a MNC degree could also work, right? IIT Delhi and now
Okay.
BITS also have an MNC degree. I think MNC could also work. At least IIT Delhi may it works. In BITS also, we've not seen yet because it's just been introduced, but I suspect it'll also be one of those degree eligible. But not just, you have to not just be in those degrees, your CGPA must be above 8.5 for most of these companies to even qualify.
Acha.
8 plus is a minimum, but 8.5 is like...
Our smile tells it all.
Ouch. Okay.
Anyways, Triple E would not probably be, ENI would probably not be eligible for most of these jobs anyway, so you don't have to worry about in that front as well.
Okay, yeah,
We
sure.
are not worried
Just
also.
we're planning on giving it, but ठीक है. तो फिर है क्या? ऐसे normal लोगों के लिए क्या है फिर?
Right. So coming to what the regular people usually end up in, or people who want to break into finance usually end up in, are the sell side risk roles, right?
Okay.
These risk roles are a good gateway into the buy side, right? Just wrapping up the buy side before I jump into sell side. Some of these buy side recruiters, like I've already probably mentioned, is TRC Tower Research Capital, there's Graviton, there's Quad Eye, right? There's Jane Street, there's Citadel, Optiver. These are top recruiters that have come to BITS and other colleges and offer like multi-gross packages. So of course we know, and these are just base salaries. People earn much more in bonus. So we know that this is the epitome of capital, earning money here as a young person. So how do you, what do people do? Like everyone can't get this job. They go for sell side. So sell side recruitment is relatively easier if you're from an engineering college. They usually don't care as much about your degree. It could be not computer science. It could be chemical. It could be mechanical. It could be electrical. Right? Even manufacturing or civil. Right? You could easily get into a sell side risk role, because what sell side risk role usually does it, you are not supposed to be really smart mathematically as much as they are, not an Olympiad level smart. They're okay with you, just having cleared JEA and knowing how to solve those problems. They know that you have a threshold of mathematics that you've studied. Even in your college, you've done math courses, 4 to 5 math courses, and you know your math. So they're fine with that. They know that you know finance if they put a threshold of finance, right?
And what are the... Yes, so sorry, go ahead.
No, you could ask.
No, what are the 3 different office roles then, and where do they fit in buy?
Yeah, I'll come to that, probably towards the end, because
sure.
We should probably just talk about this rather than bombard them with kind of classifications. But the sell side risk roles, what they usually involve in. So these companies, these are sell side, like I said, right? These are banks, these are other credit rating firms which sell something to you. So these banks sell securities, or they have their own positions, right? I also mentioned that these banks also have some buy side positions or buy side presence as well, where they manage capital for their clients as well. So these sell side firms, sell side arms of these banks usually look at the risk that goes in those either internal positions of the bank or externally for their clients. If they're selling something, right? Let's talk about something that was there at JP Morgan. There was a division which looked at counterparty credit risk. So when a bank engaged in a simple financial transaction, right, there was a counterparty risk to it, right?
Yeah,
it's always a counterparty risk.
Right.
So what kind of counterparty risk is there? What the mitigation methodologies that a bank is employing, and what kind of methodologies can the bank still employ to get more robust in their systems? So that is something that the banks use as well. There's a lot of credit rating models are risk rating models. There are different market risk. There's credit risk. There's liquidity risk. You'd know more about them when you get more accustomed with finance. But these manage different aspects or different types of risk. These are very specific roles as well. You gain a very specific skill set here. But what usually ends up happening is this opens window to go into the buy side recruiting as well. But what's important over in sell side is not only these jobs pay you decent, like not just decent, they pay you really good for. Just to give a number, JP Morgan risk roles would pay around 24 lakhs per annum as base salary to its analyst in the risk division, which is a pretty good salary after starting out. You're making out your entire BITS fees in 1 year, and even more than that, even beyond that. So that is something that these roles also offer. They offer good salary, of course, not preposterous or not monstrous amount of salary or bonuses which BITSide offers, but it offers a good chance for you to learn and develop those skills as well to eventually make a shift to BITSide, or stay in sell side and have a good life, have a balanced life, meanwhile having very interesting as well. And that is basically what usually this recruitment is there. Most of the people go out to sell side recruitment, and they usually have to do a lot of number crunching there. And that's where Quant fits in. Now, coming to the corporate finance side of things, corporate finance buy side and sell side, like the trend has been going, buy side recruiting even for corporate finance is nearly impossible right out of undergraduate. So what a buy side is.
Like, why is it impossible? So are these courses not sufficient, or the experience is much more needed there?
So usually what buy side firms think is, in quant side, they either want people who are smart, who have proven themselves outright, or they want you to prove by having a niche, right? If you're not as smart as those people, right, IIT Bombay CS, Medalist, or some sort of that thing, prodigy level smart, you will not end up going to buy side. Then your other pathways are getting a master's in financial engineering, master's in finance, or even better, PhD. A PhD would enable you to make yourself visible to those recruiters for those very heavy, very quant heavy and buy side heavy roles. So these look either for specific smartness, or they look for in general, mathematical smartness is what they are looking for. Okay. So you have to prove it either way. Either you go for an advanced degree where they know that you have studied these advanced mathematical concepts, or you're smart like by birth, or like whatever, by virtue of hard work, and you're so smart that you will show them that you can solve these problems even without an advanced degree, right? So that's why buy side and quant is hard. Now coming to buy side and corporate finance, why this is hard? Usually these firms, they invest in businesses, right? When you're investing in businesses with the money of your client or your own money as well, you want to be really sure about the people you're picking, right? So they want the tried and tested thing. So usually the people who end up making it are ex-MBB consultants in India, or ex-front office investment bankers, right? Or these kind of people who even in the family offices or the investing space, a lot of these people end up making it after they have a sell-side stint in the investment banking side of things, because that allows them to have sort of a tag, right? Like these companies, top recruiters, why do they come to BITS, and why do they not go to tier 3 engineering colleges? Because they know that you have been, right? There's a stamp of security, and they want that stamp of security. They know that you might be able to perform just as good as a fresher as well, but they don't want to take that chance because there's a lot of
understand.
So, breaking directly into buy side from undergrad itself is hard. On campus, it's almost negligible, although this time a family office did come to BITS for PS, and they did hire people for their investing division. But usually it wasn't a culture at BITS. Now it's rising, and I'm happy to see that. Mostly it was limited to SRCC and IIT Bombay. IIT Bombay gets Blackstone as a legacy recruiter. Blackstone hires people for their private equity division right out of college for IIT Bombay people, which is very rare. Usually the private equity recruitment cycle is after your 2-year consulting stint or 2-year banking stint, right? So, or post MBA in some cases as well. So these people, it's very hard. If you're from IIT Bombay, and even then, if you want to get into Blackstone, because it's one of the most coveted roles, and only like 1 to 2 people get picked a year. I'm not aware of the fact that whether they still go for recruit from there or not. But like even a few years ago, they used to be really tough. Like private equity and hedge funds are known to have like 10, 11 rounds of interviews before they finalize a candidate. The idea is to meet the entire team. Their teams are really small.
Okay,
and
right.
They have really long interviews and really in-depth interviews, not just technical fit, but they also look for cultural fit, because at the end of the day, they also share the profits among themselves. They really want you, and they've spent long hours working with each other. They really want to work with someone whom they can, like. And they want to share their carry or their percentage of the profits with someone who's smart and capable enough. So that is why buy-side recruiting is usually hard directly right out of college.
Right.
And the other
Sell
apart from
side.
private equity, there's venture capital, which is relatively easier to hire out of. Relatively easier, I call it, because they do hire freshers, but of course, it's really hard to get to work in venture capital directly. You have to do a lot of networking. They barely hire out of campus, right? Only a few micro VC funds might come to campus, like BITS, and hire a few people, but usually they limit it to ex-founders or ex-MBB consultants, right? Experienced professionals or even freshers. They have open applications off campus is what you need to target if you want to get into VC.
Okay.
Venture capital. And then there's hedge funds, which is basically hedge funds are negligible in India. So talking specifically in India, there's investing firms, there's family offices, right? These investment funds, these recruit people fresh, yes, but they barely go to campus, and they have off-campus long recruiting tasks. I remember having 6 interviews with a family office before getting turned down. So they have long recruiting procedures as well, and that for makes us hard. Coming to the sell side of things, which is like quite honestly, which is still hard. It's not easy for sell side as well for people to directly step into. So sell side, that's why I went to corporate finance later, because as a fresher from an engineering college, this will be a side which you'll be very lucky to see if you get to see it. Right? I was lucky to have a VC and an IB experience before I graduated, but most of the people are not going to be that lucky. Even at BITS, you have a relatively higher chance of it, because BITS is one of these colleges where they recruit actively from. But sell side of things are usually the sales and trading floor and the investment banking floor. Now coming to the 3 office divisions, like which you mentioned briefly.
Right.
So there's front office, there's middle office, there's back office. The front office is the client-facing arm of these firms, these divisions, IBD or sales team, which interact with the clients on a daily basis. So people who have watched the HBO show Industry, or people who have watched Wolf of Wall Street, the thing that they're seeing there is the sales floor, the trading floor of the investment bank. It is one aspect of the investment bank.
Right.
There's the investment banking division, which people who have seen Industry, just for a niche reference, in season 1, episode 1, they show an investment banking team how they consider themselves above the sales and trading division, and how an intern dies on the floor while working in investment banking, and then an intern is then shifted to the sales floor, and he's really sad and pissed off about the fact that he was shifted to sales floor per se.
Okay.
But these are the 2 divisions, sales and trading and investment banking. In these, there's middle office, front office, and back office. So front office opportunities, like the trend have been for corporate finance, is really hard to recruit right out of college as a fresher. Investment banking front offices opportunities for freshers are very, very, very limited in big banks. So banks are broadly classified into bulge bracket, elite, bulge bracket, elite, boutiques, and middle market. So bulge brackets are there's only 7 bulge brackets in the world now. So there's JP Morgan, Morgan Stanley, Goldman Sachs, the big.
Which bracket again?
Bulge bracket, BULG.
What is that?
So it's basically this big bracket. Like these are really big. These are commonly called too big to fail. There's a movie on this phenomenon as well. So these banks, Lehman used to be one of them. Merrill Lynch was one of them, but these are now folded, right, or absorbed. So these banks are Goldman, Morgans, and Stanley, like most commonly. But apart from these 3, there's Citibank, there's your Deutsche Bank, there's UBS. Credit Suisse used to be there, but like now it's absorbed into UBS. There's your Bank of America, which has Merrill Lynch inside it, and I think I'm forgetting one, but I think it's Barclays if I'm not wrong. But these 7 banks form the bulge bracket arm, right? Deutsche Bank is also there, my bad. So Deutsche Bank is also there. So these 7 to 8 banks form the bulge bracket. Apart from that, there's middle market banks like HSBC, Standard Chartered. So these form your middle market banks, right? There are much smaller banks in America. Then there's your...
these are all in the first 2 offices.
No,
These are related to.
So these are just investment banks. They have all three offices. All of them have all three offices.
Okay.
Not all three offices, but like most of them have three offices. Some have only have front and back offices. Some of them don't have middle offices. But then there's elite boutiques like Lajard, PJT, Evercore, right? These are all foreign banks. But in India, elite boutiques, you could call Aventus, right? Boutique banks are specific banks which serve to one part of the whole transaction advisory process, right? So these banks usually only do M&A or restructuring deals. They don't work on other side of things.
Understood.
Avendus, up till very recently, did only the M&A side of things. Recently, they've also started their equity capital offering division, equity capital markets division, which also works on IPOs as well. So these banks usually, Avendus, Kotak Mahindra in Indian case is a very huge bank which could be put under the Indian bulge bracket. If there was an Indian bulge bracket, then you would usually place Kotak and Avendus on the top, right? Apart from the, of course, bulge brackets which actually have a presence in India markets. And then in India, there's also Bank of Baroda, SBI Caps, there's HDFC, there's Access, all these come a tier lower. Then there's there's O3 and there's Ambit and there's Mercis, all these other banks which are boutique firms which are not much heard of. So these are investment banks usually. Now, these banks, most of them, and have a front office division in India, which deals on both the sales and trading side of things and the investment banking side of things. And these banks, but a lot of these global banks mostly have their middle offices and back offices in India. India is called the back office of the world for a reason. Back office involves IT, HR, and all the support elements, right? While middle office involves risk divisions, like what I talk about, sell side risk. That's where
the core money making verticals are outside.
Our front offices, they are mostly outside bigger banks. They're also in India, but their India operations are comparatively smaller. I remember, if I'm not correct, JP's India investment banking arm is only 60 to 70 people, and they don't expand much. Avendus is also not huge. So these banks are have a relatively small operation in India in front office terms, which is like all the fun fact in recent report of Bloomberg, I think it was revealed that in Asia, the most amount of money that is being made in investment banks is not in Singapore, is not in Hong Kong, but rather in Mumbai. So in Mumbai, the directors, the MDs of these banks are making the most money compared to, more money compared to their peers in Dubai, Singapore, or Hong Kong, which are traditionally, huge financial markets. Even Tokyo and Seoul used to be higher, but now it's Mumbai, which is becoming the center of, these opportunities. So, as someone who's looking into getting into, finance, I think right now, if you want to break into investment banking, this is a good time because opportunities will keep rising from here on. And I see a trend of freshers being hired more and more in these domestic banks. So there's still an opportunity. And coming to the salaries of these, but most of these, bigger banks like JP Morgan, UBS, Deutsche Bank, they end up hiring for their middle office from India.
Okay.
JP Morgan, Morgan Stanley, and this, Citi has one middle office. Bank of America has a middle office. Deutsche Bank has a middle office.
So what are the salaries?
Right. So their salaries, I could talk about JP. I'm not aware about others' middle office salaries.
But in general, on average, and then
usually it'll range from 15 to 20 for base,
and immediately after graduation.
Yeah, immediately after.
And then progression looks like?
Progression, okay. So usually progression looks like within around 5 years, you would be making upwards of 60 to 70 easily.
In hand or including everything, or what exactly?
So within 5 years, it would mostly be including everything, but sometimes it could also be just your base, depending on how good you perform and how well qualified you are. This is just middle office salary. These are not front office salaries, by the way. And the global banks pay well for their middle office people, and these middle offices usually have a really high attrition rate because people end up moving to front offices within 3 to 5 years of doing their middle office stint, right? And just a wild mention of how high the salaries can be in front office in New York. JP Morgan front office analysts in their first year, including bonus, could make up to 180 to 200k dollars, right? In India, front office analysts for JP Morgan could very well be making up to somewhere between 70 lakhs to a crore in annual compensation, all cash, just front office. And
so this path is lucrative. It would be worth it in the.
If you want to live that lifestyle, if you want that high finance life, and if you want to earn a good amount of money.
But I've heard the extremely toxic culture hota hai, in almost all of these routes.
Right, coming to the culture aspect of investment banks and having experienced an investment banking culture firsthand, I can speak about the fact that yes, the culture there is of course toxic. There are long hours. There was an instance where I was in the office for 35 hours. Right, I was
without any break.
Yeah, without any break. Like, of course, there were lunch breaks and there were other breaks, but I didn't sleep I was up for 35 hours.
Went back home for this 35 hours?
No, I didn't go back home
for
those 35 hours. And more than I had like that was still fine, but more importantly, I had many more 70, anywhere between 60 to 80 hour work weeks, right? Multiple of them. I remember for an entire month, more than a month actually, for a month and a half, I looked at my timesheet and I saw that I was logged in on Saturday as well. My attendance showed green, so I was in office on Saturday as well. That meant that I was leaving past 12 on Friday nights multiple times.
Should we assume that money would constantly motivate you to put in these numbers? या आपको प्यार चाहिए इस काम से?
Like, there's two aspects of things, right? I've seen multiple kind of people, but I think most importantly, above anything else, you need to be motivated by the money. Because if you're not motivated by the money, then you will not be able to sustain yourself long enough. Because the love for the money, the hunger, the need to earn more and more is what drives this, right? At the core of it, if you look at an investment bank, sorry for the viewers who are expecting more on the sales and trading side of things. I'm not well versed about too much with that, but I'll touch about that briefly after this. But in investment banking, if you look at the core of it, it's a business about bringing businesses, right? What do? They connect buyers and sellers, right? So for that, you need to have a really, really good network, and you need to be a really good salesperson and really charming person. But someone who doesn't like the money that comes with this, or that's not something that motivates them. It's very hard for these companies to imagine that these people will be bringing in businesses day in day out, going out of their way to bring in business. Because yeah, sure, you could be driven by people's skills, right? You could want to interact with more and more people, but the truth of the matter is, if you're genuinely interested in interacting with people, honestly, a lot of these businesses, their conversations don't revolve around knowing these people. It's revolved more around not making friendship, but rather how to execute a transaction, how to execute businesses. And these are very high tension conversations, right? I remember looking at a mail from a top, one of the leading multimedia companies in the world's CFO, right? They sent a mail to our MD, to our investment banking head of the team I was in. The regional head was sent a mail from the CFO of that top company, that they were just inquiring basically about the fact that the results had come out, quarterly results had come out for both them and their top competitors, but their top competitors' price was able to absorb more about that result than their price. So they wanted to inquire more into why it is there, and if the bank has some materials from their equity sides of things to explain this in more detail, help them understand more. That conversation. Now imagine if you're the MD, you cannot refuse, you cannot say no, right? The conversation that you're supposed to be having at that time is, how do I get this, right? You cannot say no to a client. That's basically the base of this business. So every conversation is high pressure, high tension. You need to be very on your toes about that this is a deliverable that I'll be able to deliver at that point. Your commitment is the most important thing, and they buy the commitment by giving you and paying you the appropriate amount.
Right. So initially, you shouldn't expect work-life balance.
Yeah, initially, don't go in expecting work-life balance, right? Okay. You should not go in expecting work-life balance. You should be ready to dig in, put down your knees, put down your head, and just work hard through it. There's going to be a lot of work which you will like. Which
I was saying we have exceeded our work limit. So just like I have last two questions for you before this wrap it up. One major question. Sure, we have like such great opportunities. From which outlet do we get opportunities in BITS? Is it SI? Is it PS? Or is it placements?
So till now, most of the finance opportunities in BITS are targeted restricted to PS, right?
Okay.
Most of these opportunities that I talked about, sell side quant or sell side or IB middle officers, or operations roles as well, they come for PS for the 6 months or 1 year internship, depending on your degree. And most of them do end up going for the dual X as well, because again they'll be there for a year, but they have a lot of
So shouldn't expect much more in SI and a bit in placements. Mostly in PS, and you have to sit for it.
Yeah, mostly in PS you have to sit for that, and for placement there are a few companies. In SI, I think it might come around, but till now there's been none.
Okay. One last question. In the end, putting in around 20-25K and then going through this rigorous 6 courses, is it worth it? Because from our discussion, you see कि 3 outlets में से एक outlet में ही आ रहा है mostly, and these are around like 10 companies, and people around every batch, 400 people might at least I see them sitting for DRM courses or initial courses. But then only 10 companies are hiring. So is it worth in India? ROI कैसा है? Yeah, I could see my friends shifting to IT later on because they couldn't get a break in finance. So would you recommend, like, should a person take a BE degree properly, wholeheartedly? Yeah, ऐसे कि भाई जो मिल रहा है ले लूं, because I'll end up doing finance minor and I'm only backing on finance minor while coming to campus.
Right. So don't put all your eggs in one basket is what I'd say. Don't just back on the fact that you'll be doing a finance minor. There's a lot of opportunities at BITS, especially when you come as a freshman. I'd say explore every single aspect, explore a lot of divisions. And talking about the fact that there's only 10 firms and what could be the ROI, the reality is while a lot of people do a finance minor, a lot of them do just for a backup, pursue a lot of people. In fact, I think everyone who's recruited into consulting as well, all of them had a finance minor. A lot of IT people end up having finance minors. This is just something to strengthen their profiles. A lot of people also end up doing finance courses because they want to get better in their own personal finance things, right? Some of them also end up doing finance courses because they might get do an MBA sometime down the line. They want to have something to talk about as well. So not everyone sits for finance. PS is my point here, but yeah, there's a lot of competition, but things are getting better. I think markets will get in India, finance will increase, recruitments will increase, it will get better, but you need to be really clear about the fact that what interests you, what drives you to finance. And I think without that, you might be able to get through the courses, but the idea is not to just get through the courses. If you want the best ROIs, I think you will have to put in the effort and get the grades necessary as well. And talking about just the pure numbers sense of ROI, I think at the bare minimum for most of the jobs, you end up earning upwards of 15 to 16 lakhs a year in your first year, which is usually for a person who's not in computer science or electronics.
It's a great number.
Yeah, it's a great opportunity, and I think you should totally go for it in case you're the 20,000 is holding you back, because to be honest, and if in case it's holding you back, I'll be honest, sir, I did not personally do the finance minor myself, so I didn't have the degree itself.
So you've done the courses but have not enrolled for the for it to be called a degree.
Yeah. So
okay.
Because of that, I would say if you're not 100% sure about wanting the degree or committing to the bit that you would want to do 5 courses of your open electives in just one theme, then I would say refrain from just putting in the degree, but sit for the courses, register for them, appear for them, and do the courses. If you're able to do well and if you're able to get interest, your minor degree does not matter. You will be able to break in the industry regardless. So
I think this has been much more most comprehensive knowledge ever on this particular topic, because this was what problem we both faced while coming to campus. There was no clarity whatsoever. Thank you so much, Abhijeet, for taking out time.
I just I just hope that I was able to help. And just one kind of request from Marav that please attach a document that I compiled.
Right. I was going to talk about it, because every single person from 22nd batch, like the juniors of Abhijeet, refer to that document before starting with any of the finance courses. It's like the introductory course to all these 6 courses, like what to expect, what opportunities you have in store, and what are resources can be supplemented to these courses. So yeah, do put that.
Basically,
I think
I'm
is it
thinking
open
of
to everybody?
and I'll be emailing this to like 24 batch also, like properly. Ki if you are interested in finance minor, just go through this video and this drive and everything. That is going to help a lot.
I'll help you compile all the resources.
Yeah.
Thank you,
I'll just
Abhijeet,
send
for
that.
everything.
Yeah, that drive will be evolving much more with the recruitment and other resources as well from timing. So just keep it. Yeah, very happy to.
And it's thank you so much, Abhijit Bhaiya. Like it's has been a great experience. Like I was not expecting this, that it can be this comprehensive, and like this is the first time I'm getting to know about finance, and now I can literally teach the second years like what to study and what to not.
राम
what
भवन
not
का
to.
भाईचारा काम आ गया.
हाँ. भाई बिहारी भाईचारा.
Yeah. Bye bye.
Okay, thank you so much. Bye bye.